Hello everyone, today we'll be presenting our Celta 40 SS620. 5 members that I will introduce. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Hamizah here, Aina Balkis, Idam Abdillah, Lukman Hakim, including me, Faisal Rahman. We will be your presenters today.
Okay, so in our video, first Hamizah will explain the introduction, which is the objective and the target audience of our game, before moving on to the description of the game by Aina Balkis, and then back with Hamizah again for the significance of our game, and then the advantages by me, Lukman Hakim, and Faisal Rahman, before finishing with the reflection part by Ahmad Idham. So let's move on.
Hi everyone, I'm the first presenter, Hamizah binti Yahya. The name of our activity is the masked robbery, as you can see in the slides. In this activity, the students will work together in a group and they have to solve a bank robbery case. The description of the game will be further explained by my group member Aina Balkis later on. So this activity is based on Form 1's scheme of work from lesson 46. This lesson focuses on language awareness, and the teacher is given the freedom to choose which aspect of the language they would like to focus on. So we chose to focus on prepositions of place and directions. For the theme of this lesson is consumerism and financial awareness, and the topic we have chosen for this theme is bank robbery. So our activity will fit nicely with both the theme and the topic. The target audience of our activity is for Form 1 students, and it is suitable for all proficiency levels, considering that it is a group activity. For the objective of the activity, at the end of the lesson, students should be able to use the correct preposition to complete the worksheets to obtain clues for the case. So the students will be given grammar worksheets and they have to complete them with the correct answers, and only then can they obtain clues to solve the case. For the second objective, students should also be able to read the handouts carefully and identify the culprit for the masked robbery case. So after completing the worksheets, they will be given the handouts and they will have to read through them to find clues and finally point out who the culprit is.
Hi, my name is Aina Balkis and I will present on the description of the game. So first, the masked robbery. What is it? It's actually a problem-solving game that is infused with grammar exercises and puzzles. This game focuses on teamwork and attention to details. We decided to infuse this game with preposition exercises in the form of closed questions and crossword puzzle. It aligns with the lesson plan that we chose from the scheme of work. Here, the students will have a chance to play detectives in completing this intriguing task. Let's go! So first, what the teacher needs to do is to divide the students into groups of 4 to 5 people in each group, and then divide the files. Each group will receive one unsolved case file. So this is the front page of the file, unsolved case file, the mask robbery, and we have a little catchphrase at the bottom. Do you think you have what it takes to solve a crime? And this is the first page of the file, which is the content, and here listed are instruction sheet, newspaper article, worksheet A, map, worksheet B, suspect files, and answer sheet. It is important for the students to go through the content to make sure that they have everything that they need inside the files, because if one of the documents are missing, they could not continue the activity. So this is the instruction sheet, and as you can see, in every document that we provide, there's a label, instruction sheet, so the students won't get messed up and it's more structured. So the police report is actually the instruction sheet. There's a little detail and a little brief description of what had happened, which is a robbery. and there's a guide on how to solve this crime and how to go through these files. So in the perspective of a student, let's go through this together. To solve this crime, you need to read the news article and worksheet A. Study the map and answer worksheet B. Write all the answers on the answer sheet and hand it to the senior detective, which is the teacher. If you pass, the senior detective will give you the clues, but if you don't, correct your answers and try again. After the senior detective has checked your answers, you will receive a witness statement and 2 CCTV pictures as clues. Look at the suspect file to determine which gang had done the robbery. I think that is pretty clear on what they need to do, so let's continue. This is the newspaper article as labeled newspaper article. So in the newspaper article, it is not a normal newspaper article because there are missing words there. And in order to complete the news, they need to answer worksheet A. And worksheet A is a crossword puzzle, and I think it is very important to include a lot of structure of questions to keep the students intrigued. And for this activity, it's a group activity, so I think it's very interesting for them to work together as group and collect answers to complete the news. So this is the news. It's the capital breaking news, and when they answer this part of the question in the worksheet A, they will write the answers and complete the words that are missing in the worksheet. But they won't write their answers on these 2 documents because these are laminated, because we want to reuse these documents. They will write it in an answer sheet, and I will show later. The next part is the map and worksheet B. So the map, the students might study this map and then answer worksheet B. So worksheet B is a closed question, and it also focuses on prepositions like worksheet A. And there's 7 questions here, and when there's 7 questions here and during worksheet A there's 9 questions. So in total there are 16 preposition questions in this case file. So this is the answer sheet. This is the answer sheet for worksheet A. There's 9 slots, and this is the answer sheet for worksheet B. There's 7 slots. The purpose of doing answer sheet is because the students don't have to write their answers on the documents up top, and they can be reused because it's laminated. So if the teacher wants to carry out this lesson in another class, they just need to reprint the answer sheet and good to go. So after the students have completed the worksheet to worksheet A and worksheet B and have written their answers on the answer sheet and has handed to the senior detective to check. Okay, so when the senior detective check all the answers and everything is correct, they will be given 2 clues, and these are the 2 clues, which are the witness statement and 2 CCTV pictures. In the witness statement, there will be valuable information that can help them pick who is actually the gang that robbed the bank. And in the pictures, we can see the visuals here wearing black shoes and black clothes. So that might be a very vital information in cracking the case. That's all. So after viewing the clues, they now have to connect the information that they gathered from the witness statement, from the CCTV pictures, from the newspaper article, from the map. Gather all the information and try to choose which of the gang here that are portrayed in the suspect file had done the robbery. So after they make their decision, they will write the final answer in this worksheet, in this answer sheet. So the answer sheet goes like, who is the real culprit behind the robbery? After answering, fold this paper and insert it in the envelope provided. So they write who is the culprit here, and then fold the paper in half and insert it in the envelope. After putting it in the envelope, they need to hand the envelope to the senior detectives. So the senior detective, which is the teacher, collects all the envelope and then held a big grand reveal of who is actually the robberies. Of who had done the robbery. Okay, thank you.
Now let's move on to the significance of the project. In this activity, we don't only focus on the grammar aspect, but we have incorporated grammar awareness on prepositions with reading to exercise the students' comprehension skills. Usually, reading activities in the classroom require students to answer comprehension questions based on what they have read, and it's usually done alone, so some students might feel reluctant or unmotivated to read the text which they are given. They lack the interest to read because the topic of the reading text might be unrelatable or unexciting for them. That's why we have developed this immersive activity that requires the students to role play as detectives to solve a crime. When they're doing this activity, they're doing a lot of reading, right, to find the culprit. So they will apply the correct reading strategies without feeling like they have to, but because they want to, because they need to solve the crime. So wanting to know who did it is definitely our motivating factor for this activity. Aside from that, we want the students to know the importance of giving accurate information on direction, especially in critical situations like becoming a witness in a crime scene, for example, or else it can cause misunderstanding and misinformation, and we want to achieve this by making sure that they're using the correct prepositions in this activity. This activity also covers multiple intelligence as compared to a normal class activity because we want to give every student a chance to complete or succeed in this task. It covers linguistic intelligence because this is a grammar activity and the students are required to complete and comprehend reading texts. It also deals with interpersonal intelligence because when it comes to working in a group, they have to consider each other's thoughts and opinions and come to a mutual decision. Lastly, it also covers logical mathematical intelligence because they need to analyze information, make hypotheses, and prove their hypothesis right. So every student has their own talents, right? They can use their own strength to contribute to this group activity. Therefore, we believe that this will be a fun and motivating activity that will help teachers evaluate students' reading and grammar skills.
Hello, I'm Faiz, and today Lokman and I will talk about the advantage of our activity. Firstly, the activity is engaging, as it is appealing to visual learners. Students will have to search for clues that is visually evident in the suspect files. Moreover, the activity is interactive as it allows two-way flow of information between the students themselves and between the students and the materials. For example, students have to read the newspaper articles and explore the suspect files in order to search for clues in identifying the real culprit behind the robbery. However, in order to do that, they will need to work hand in hand with each other. Secondly, through this activity, students will learn to work together with their group mates, of course. As engaging as the activity is, it could save the students a lot of work if they operate as a team. In many TV series that are related to the FBI or CSI or any police agencies, often we see them work as a team in solving mystery cases, of course. That is what this activity is about. The students role play as a team from an agency in solving the mystery given to them. This will indirectly encourage communication between the students, thus building their communication skills in interacting with one another to achieve the same goal. Thirdly, through communicating to each other, this activity also encourages critical thinking from students. In order to solve a problem, one must think and evaluate the situation. Only then it will lead to solutions. The students will intellectually involve themselves in the process of actively conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating the materials given to them, in this case, the robbery mystery. Furthermore, students will learn the concept of a whole in working together to bring the problems to a solution. For example, in this activity, students will have to collect information about the clues that will lead them to the real culprit of the bank robbery. That's all from me. My friend Lokman will continue in elaborating the advantage of this activity. Thank you.
Another interesting advantage that our activity provides to the students is synthesizing skill. So this skill will help them a lot, especially during their secondary school years. So from the materials provided, they will need to solve the case, but students need to make the connection from one material or one text to the others before finding the robbers. So only by gathering these information that they will be able to solve the case. So this skill is important to prepare them in order to do their research and writings in the future, because students nowadays will do research from as early as in their form 3, as they will need to write the research or report in their geography and the history subject. Next, our activity is also very easy to conduct, as teacher will only need to explain the flow of the activity once, and then the students will do the rest. So this game is mainly student centered, and teacher only act as the facilitator, or in this case the game master or the senior detective. So this will make the students feel in charge of their learning when they are solving the case, and hence promotes much more independent learning in the classroom. So with a good rehearsal and a great command from the teacher, this activity will be a very easy and convenient activity to be conducted. Finally, our activity is also very much reusable, because the files are laminated and designed to be reused. Although the worksheets are prepared, students need to answer the worksheets and the questions in another paper. So this way, the same activity can be conducted in different classrooms, and it will still bring the same joy just by using the exact same material. So it is also rather different from the original game, as the murder mystery, where students need to destroy some evidence in order to get the next clue. So we decided to eliminate this element of the original game to develop a much more much more economic and more eco-friendly material. So that's all for the advantages of the game. Thank you very much. Moving on to the reflection.
Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. So I will be presenting the reflection for this project. We reflected that if we had a lot more time and resources, this game could have been improved in a lot of aspects. There is probably a better system than completing the worksheet to obtain clues from the teacher and solve the case. Initially, what we were thinking was the students would obtain clues by themselves as they go through the activities, and after they had gathered enough clues, they can finally solve the case. However, this is easier said than done. Our lesson is scattered for Form 1 students, so one of our concerns while developing this game was whether the students can really solve the case by themselves from just doing the activities. We were not sure of how far a Form 1 student can think, as they would have just entered the high school from primary school. The mask robbery can also be expanded further for students with higher proficiency level. The language level in the game can be increased, and more complex parts can be added for advanced learner. For example, we did plan for more activities like interviewing the suspect and witness, but there was not enough time to develop them and to make them suitable to be used in the game. This is because more activities can increase the complexity, and with higher complexity, a lot more time would be needed for planning, which is something that we do not have. Time is luxury. There were also some difficulties that we faced during the process of developing this game. One of the difficulties is we had to do some careful research on how a real case file, witness statement, and suspect description are made, because we wanted to ensure that the content for this game to be as authentic as it can be. Plus, since we are catering it specifically for Form 1 students, we had to make sure that the content of the game is not too complex and can make sense to them. We also had reduced the language difficulty in the news article and the witness statement to make sure they are suitable for Form 1 students. Another difficulty is we had to make sure our content is consistent with one another. Since we had divided the work and did it separately, we need to ensure that all of the information in the case file and clues are aligned with each other. The students can get confused and might not be able to solve the case if there is any inconsistency of information. In a nutshell, this game is surely to attract the students to learn and use English in class, as it can be fun and competitive for them when they compete with other teams of detectives to be the first to solve the case. Teachers can also provide a prize for the winner to further increase their motivation. We hope that a lot more games like this could be developed and practiced in school in the future, as it can create the notion that English is a fun language to learn and use. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope that you enjoyed the product as much as we do.